for you.
For your average 20-year-old college student, which super habit would you guess is the most important for them to develop first?
Resilience.
Resilience.
So I talked about the two,
which is nestled under self-discipline.
under courage.
Or
It's
courage.
under courage. Yes. So
Courage.
so I talked about the two virtues of courage for overcoming challenges. Then there are two for enduring, because
Right.
not every challenge can be overcome. Some things just have to be endured. You're like you're stuck here. You know, you got to do this thing. Or you're suffering from a chronic disease, say, for example. You have back pain, but until it's healed, you know, you try to overcome it, but you have to live through it. So he says there's one, at least my interpretation, there's one for mental pain and one for physical pain. One for sort of mental discomfort, physical. So physical discomfort would be perseverance. So this is the virtue for dealing with tiredness, fatigue, boredom, anything that's going to be like, oh, I don't feel like going on, that would be perseverance, which is the habit of keep moving, and incidentally, really easy to develop. 5 minutes, go 5 minutes beyond the moment when you thought I should quit. So you're practicing for soccer and it's like, oh, I'm dying. Go 5 more minutes.
Right.
Because whenever you think you're dying and whenever you're ready to quit, it's usually not because you're about to literally fall down dead. You're just fed up, And in fact, extensive research on this, really interesting, shows that we're constantly, when we're facing any kind of struggle, pain, discomfort, we're constantly making a cost-benefit analysis. Is it worth going on? Should I continue to practice? I'll get kicked off the team if I don't. All right, so I'll keep going on. All right, the coach is gone. Should I continue to practice?
Right.
So the beauty of it is that cost-benefit analysis is usually wrong. It's usually better to go beyond the point we thought we could go, because that's where the breakthroughs happen. That's where we get our second wind. That's where, if it's like, I'm brainstorming and I'm like, I'm tired, I'm going to give up. It's like, no, keep on 5 more minutes, and that's when the big idea comes. So you, with every virtue, practicing every day, a little bite-sized piece of it, and in perseverance case, it's just 5 more minutes. Just 5 more minutes. It really works. So that's the physical discomfort. The mental discomfort is resilience.
Which is, you said that was the first thing that they should develop.
From what I see from young people, partly because you've been good job to death, young people in this generation have been shielded from a lot of struggle, in part because we can, we've such a prosperous society that they haven't had to suffer as much, which is beautiful in some ways, but it also shortchanges you, because it's through the struggle that we grow stronger. In the same way, it's through stressing muscles, physical muscles, that you get them stronger. It's through stressing our mental muscles that they grow stronger, So you want to grow in resilience, which Aquinas defines as endurance through long sorrow. So sorrow, sadness, depression, anxiety, and in fact, I was talking to a doctor at the Department of Psychiatry at Harvard Medical School about the latest therapies for anxiety and depression. So the latest versions of cognitive behavioral therapy, they're basically indistinguishable from cultivating the virtue of resilience. That's basically what you're doing, which is exposure to a challenge and kind of a baby step towards that challenge. So you're crippled with depression, you get out of bed and take a shower. Heroic, right? Heroic, but that's the way to conquer it. And then the next day you might get out of bed, take a shower, make some breakfast, and just like little bite-sized steps, you start to realize that the thing you're afraid of doesn't actually kill you.
We had a clinical psychologist on who's the foremost clinical psychologist for young people, for 20-somethings. And she said the solution to anxiety is you have to do the thing more.
Yes.
Which is pretty much exactly what you're...
In bite-sized pieces. Very important. Right. I know she probably said this, right? But the whole notion of exposure therapy, right? You just expose yourself to a little bit at a time, and you train your brain, you train your mind that this thing isn't as dangerous as I thought.
And to your point on why resilience is important to develop first, I remember talking to a college mental health counselor who I was interviewing, and they were saying how so many students step on campus and they get a B for the first time in their life, and it just ends it ends them mentally. And so they go, they seek mental health counseling. And the point is that a lot of people haven't experienced suffering or setback. And so when it comes, they're inequipped to deal with it.
They don't have the resources.
Correct.
Exactly. That muscle has never been exercised. So you just collapse.
Are there any simple exercises to develop resilience?
One of my favorite I found literally on YouTube. And it's a guy who tried this himself. And the challenge is for 60 days, once a day, you ask somebody a question where you're going to get refused. So this guy would do really funny things. Like he'd go to McDonald's, eat the meat out of the hamburger, then go up and say, could I have a burger refill? You know, like dumb stuff like that, you know?
Right.
But you could just go to a store that you know doesn't sell a brand. And you say, do you sell such and such? They go, no, you know? Or you go to your professor and say, could I have an extension on this assignment? When she's already said no extension. So, and it seems in some ways so trivial.
Right.
Most young people would be terrified to do that because we hate be turned down, to refusal.
We hate no.
Yeah. So expose yourself to no for 60 days and you're set to become a great entrepreneur because that's what entrepreneurs do. We have, so at the Busch School of Business, we have a really successful sales program, right? And which is funny to me that there aren't more sales programs in college. They're unusual. It's unusual to have one. About a third of our graduates go into this field. I think partly they're not popular because people have such a bad idea of sales. They think of it as sort of used car salesman,
right?
Or
sleazy, greasy,
or Glenn Clary, Glenn Ross. Remember that? Always be closed. Oh, it's a great movie. Anyway, but it shows the worst kind of side
salesperson.
Whereas we do typically tech sales. So you're selling to large corporations, selling software. We have kids. We have graduates, adults, young adults out of our program, 2-3 years out of our program, making $300,000-$400,000 a year. I have my high scorer, 10 years out of our program, is making $3 million a year.
Wow.
And these are good people. They're hard workers, but they're not geniuses, you know, and they're not workaholics in the sense of like working 80 hours.
16 hours a day or something.
No, right? They're just hardworking people who aren't afraid of no. And it's amazing what you can do when you're not afraid of no. And that's the virtue of resilience. Yeah.
So resilience is the first virtue that you would prescribe to an average college student.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe. And if there's a friend of yours who you think would benefit from watching this video, make sure you send it to them.